AITA for giving my life jacket to my mother instead of my pregnant wife. I 35 Eminem took our family paddleboarding today at a lake. Initially, I went with my wife, 34F, and toddler on the paddleboard. On the car, she said us two adults will probably be okay without a life vest, but we should make sure our toddler has one. I ended up getting one for myself and one for our toddler, and I was swimming around pushing my wife and toddler on the board. At the end of a short session, our son wanted to go chill under the tent, so I volunteered to feed him lunch and let my wife keep playing. My mother initially was swimming for a while, and she was excited to try paddleboarding as well. We were all in knee-high water, and I obtained a second paddleboard. I took off my life vest and told my mom to wear it. At this point, my wife, who is 5 months pregnant, had to insist twice that I give her the life vest because she can't really swim, and my mom, 66F, can swim. My wife can swim, just maybe for a few minutes. We went snorkeling a while back and she did great, but it is true she can't swim a lap in the pool and has self-proclaimed she can't swim multiple times. Anyways, after we got home, she said she was super hurt and upset that I offered my life vest to my mother, who can swim multiple laps over her. I was confused because before she said we would probably be okay without life jacket. She said it's because she can swim maybe a few feet. She had a floating board, and I was next to her, so she felt okay. But if she was off on her own, she'd never explore to the middle of the lake on her own. Then I said, well, if I had no life vest period, then you wouldn't be upset for not giving her the life vest. Plus, I know my mom can overexert and overestimate herself while you are always cautious. Ultimately, she said I failed the who would you save test in real life and felt I dismissed her and prioritized my mom. I told her it wasn't an actual life or death situation, and she said she wouldn't want to find out if it were one. Edit. Yes, I get having a life vest for everyone would have been the easiest thing, but she's mad that I prioritized my mom over her. Also, I wore the life vest BC I was swimming around and pushing the paddleboard initially, while wife and toddler sat on the board. I can swim, but it takes energy this way. Now time for second story. AITA. Am I wrong for wanting a divorce? My spouse is financially abusing me now. AITA. I feel as though my spouse is very financially abusive. Am I justified or unjustified? I just feel like I need multiple opinions on this. I 27M and my wife 27F have been married almost 3 years with no kids. I am active duty military and I have been serving for almost 8 years. We are currently overseas in South Korea. Ever since we have been married, I have paid all of the bills, which I don't mind because she upkept the house. At our last duty station together. Now Uwe bought her a brand new vehicle, and I told her she should get a job to pay for the vehicle. I explained to her that she is 27 years of age and she has a driver's license, she needs a vehicle. She agreed, and we get the vehicle that she wants from MS. I even told her that I will pay the monthly payment and I want her to match me so she can pay off and own her vehicle faster. She agreed. We get her the vehicle, and now she doesn't want to contribute anything to the vehicle at all. But she loves to say it is her car, and I have been the only one making payments on the vehicle for a year. I would like to use my money to pay off my own vehicle, but her logic is my husband makes more money than me, so why should I pay it? I explained to her numerous times that since I pay all of the bills, she should at least pay for her car payment and even match me. I do not mind paying her monthly payment as long as she tries to match me to own her vehicle quicker. In my mind, that makes sense. She has a job and she doesn't pay any bills. I literally pay for everything. And she uses her money to go on trips around the country and even spends all her money on Amazon. And I explained that her priorities are not straight. She told me it is my job as the man to pay all of the bills and that I am not a traditional man because she has a job. I looked at her and said, wife, you have a job, but you don't contribute or pay any bills. When I ask my wife for money, she tells me, okay, that's fine, but you have to pay me back. I look at her like she's crazy. What do you mean pay you back? I pay for everything. She said I make way more money than her and I should pay her back. So I just stop asking her for things. We do not get physical or don't really argue at all, but I feel extremely taken advantage of. When it comes to finances, she wants me to handle everything, which again I do not mind. But if that is the case, I do not want a wife who has an attitude with me, demeans me when I do not do what she asks of me, And I do not want a wife who thinks we are partners when she doesn't want to put in the work to become a partner. We are close to being married for 3 years and no kids. I finally told her I want a divorce. When I told her that I wanted a divorce originally, she told me, "Can I wait until next year so her mother can come and experience South Korea before we get a divorce?" I told her I'm talking about separating from you and you're talking about a trip with your mother. All her money goes to her going on trips. That has literally taken up her focus trips and materialistic things. I do not hate my wife at all, and I would rather just end this before we actually have a child involved. When I met my wife, I knew her 6 months. Then I had orders to South Korea out of Fort Drum, so I decided to take her with me and ask for her hand in marriage. I also took her virginity, which I thought was very genuine, and she was a nice, soft-hearted woman. I do not regret having married my wife. I just don't want to be married to someone who keeps leeching of me and always keeps antagonizing me when she doesn't get her way and doesn't really contribute. If I do not want to go on a trip with her, I am called a bad husband, a shitty husband, an asshole, asswipe, all because I do not want to go on a trip with her. I work 12 hours a week for 4 days. I am tired. She said, "Why did I get married then?" I told her so she CSN come with me and I can help her with her living situation and out of love and me taking her virginity. However, now it just seems like she just expects me to pay all of her bills, and I will tolerate her attitude and her coldness. I have had multiple talks with her, and it always ends up annoying me. She told me it's my jobs as a husband to try and make my wife and family comfy at the extent of myself. And I told her I want a wife that thinks like, if my husband is uncomfortable, I will be uncomfortable with him. Not her comfortability is the only priority. I remember when I asked her to go to the store to get us groceries, and I give her $300 every TO weeks for groceries, which is a lot for two people. I told her whatever she has left over, she can pocket. All I want is for her to do is go to the commissary and get what is on this list. She comes back without my specific items because they were meat items. She is vegan. I told her I wanted everything that was on the list, and she told me that she doesn't believe in meat and she's not getting it. If I want, I can go to the commissary myself on my off day and spend more money on my meat products, and she pockets the entire 300. I don't know, I just feel like I married a leech, honestly. I remember in the middle of the night, I felt like I was dying, and I rolled over and told my wife, "I'm going to the ER." She rolled over and told me, "Okay, have fun, be safe," and went back to sleep. I drove myself to the ER because I was afraid I had heart problems. However, I was later diagnosed with sleep apnea. I am tired of giving my 100% and she always falls through, or her lame excuse is we're in a new country and she has anxiety. That seems to be her excuse for everything. I cannot babysit my wife, who acts like my daughter, and do my military duties. I just cannot anymore, unfortunately. Now time for third story. Whipped her for telling my Mel she can't babysit until she respects our rules. I, 28F, am married to my husband, 27M, and we have one child, almost two. Let me start off with, I do not hate my Mel. I have been once married before and my Mel then was a nightmare. My now Mel is just annoying because she's not self-aware. My husband, Phil's mom and I, have always had problems getting her to be aware of her clingy, repetitive, disrespectful tendencies, and it does cause some problems in the family, but nothing huge. After our child was born, Mill would do little things like emphasizing my when referring to my child, grabbing them from someone else, or needing to touch them on the hand, face, or head. It bothered me at the start until my child started whacking her and running away when they had enough. And my husband made comments like, "That's enough, they're fine," or "Leave them alone," when I voiced my concern. Needless to say, everyone has been vocal about boundaries with her, but she doesn't mind our words. On to the problem at hand. Recently, we have been teaching them no since they're almost two. We've always had a no phones or other tech rule for them. When talking to long-distance family, we use our own phones but never let her handle it. We've made it very clear to all relatives that the child cannot touch or use their phones because we don't want them to become addicted. Mill objected to this rule because my child likes her screensaver, validating my point that my child is becoming addicted. After a bit of back and forth, she stopped arguing. But I knew this wasn't the end of it. Boy, was I right. A couple weeks ago, we were celebrating FIL's birthday with his mom. She has a back deck with old wood stairs. My husband and I explicitly told our child with everyone around, no playing on the stairs because she would get hurt. Phil and his mom agreed to this, but ML of course protested. No acknowledged it. Later, she and Phil's mom went outside with my child while I was talking to Phil. My husband suddenly said, I think we should be out there. Sure enough, Mill was letting my child play on the stairs. I told my child I said no stairs, which Mel again protested to no acknowledgement. My child was pissed, obviously, as the rest of us tried to distract her. But Mill continued making backhanded comments like, she wants to play on the stairs. It's not fair to her, and even told my child, too bad mommy and daddy said no. I told her, life isn't fair. Name needs to follow the rules, followed by Phil telling her to stop nagging. Her comments continued, pissing everyone else off. Later, we were loading the car to go home. My child was curled up on the couch when ML came in to bug her. Child Clear wanted to be left alone, so she tried to get up, but Mill pulled out her phone for my child to look at. I literally glared at her and asked my husband to say something because I wouldn't be nice if I did. He was also at his wit's end with her for other reasons on top of this, so he knew he wouldn't be nice either. At home, I told my husband that Mill's behavior was ridiculous and it needs to stop. He commented that she doesn't listen when we talk, so I came back with, well then, action needs to be taken. I don't want her babysitting our child anymore. I'm tired of her tiny little ways of disrespecting us as our child's parents, and basically making it clear to the child that if parents say no, Miel will say yes. Child's behavior is already reflecting this when Mel is around. My husband, who normally tries to diffuse my anger, agreed. We've talked to her enough times that it's come to this point, but we know it'll be a battle. I just want to know if we would be a-holes if we cut off babysitting. Side note, we're not cutting contact with her, just restricting her. No babysitting, and if she starts questioning our parenting, unsolicited, she will be asked to leave.